E buongiorno! How are you, Georgette?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, just very stressed because
Always
of,
stressed.
this time of the year is always very stressful with a lot of events. Everyone's waking up because it's springtime and they want you.
Exactly. We're not exactly sure when this will air, but right now we are on the cusp of Easter, which is kind of perfect for this episode because
Yes.
we know we've talked a lot of real talk about Florence, which is wonderful. But I think it's also time to talk about some positives too, and about sustainable travel tips from two people that have spent a lot of time here and love Florence, even if we talk a lot of shit. But it's coming out of love, because when you love something, you love all aspects, 360 degrees. And Easter really is the time when
Mamma
Florence
mia.
kicks off. Well, it already has, in my opinion.
Yes, I
was on the
agree. I
weekend.
agree with you.
I was in
Yes.
Florence over the weekend, and it was insane trying to cross the city. So it's really the time when tourism goes from, okay, kind of, it's a little bit crowded now, to, oh my gosh, get out of my
In
way,
Italy,
stop.
in Italian, we have this way of saying like spuntano come funghi. That means they are just popping out like mushrooms
Yeah, everybody's talking about,
everywhere.
like, mushrooms. It really is true. I took my daughter to go see, very ambitiously, took my not even 5-year-old daughter, to go see the Rothko exhibition in Palazzo Strozzi, which is,
okay.
it's an incredible exhibition. Highly recommend to anyone that's going. But is it, in typical fashion, they have a family kit. It's super cute.
I love them. I
Yeah,
love
the family
the
kit is
Mamma
free.
mia.
Always ask for that when you go there, so that it helps guide not only her but myself as well
Esatto.
through the museum, which is great. But I definitely, they just don't have, there were no activities for kids, like the playroom that's advertised on the website wasn't open, or I just thought there could be something a little bit more curated for them, like a drawing pad or
I
something.
can see that. I can say that in the past, when Edoardo was Annabelle's age, so let's say around 10 years ago, the activities probably were better organized, because I remember we did many different things, especially in the Strozzina, so underground.
Oh, yeah,
There
that's
were,
right.
Yes, there were many activities in addition to the backpack. So probably, they saw that the major public is no longer family friendly.
Yeah.
And so they
You mean
downgraded.
society in general is
Yes.
not, no longer family
I mean,
friendly.
they still have, the backpack,
Yeah.
and it's amazing, but they didn't organize. Maybe they have special guided tour, I think, some days.
There's actually a really great guide in Florence, and we'll talk all the tips after talking all about other things first. But Alexandria, I post about her sometimes on my Substack or Instagram, and she does guided tours for kids, I think from 6 years old and upwards, but she curates experiences for kids to view the city, and it's something that I really respect. Because
Also, yes, also Lucia used to do it, and now she also left this part to other guides, but there are also a lot of Italian guides that are doing great, amazing kids tour in Florence.
Exactly. And if you check out our Instagrams or my Substack, you can see I always add like every week when I can, because mama's got to work, and last week my newsletter did not come out because of various reasons. This week it will, but I try to always add, I do like a top 5 events
Yes.
of the city, and some of them are probably things that you guys already kind of can guess online, because we're all talking about the coolest events around town. But I always try to include at least 2 or 3 more obscure kid-friendly events, because I'm in that boat. I want to do cool stuff, and there are amazing things going on in the
Yes.
city. It's just not always public. I mean, there's just a lot of information.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, if for Italian people, there is this website that is trying to gather, together all the family activities, and I think it's called Firenze a misura di bambino or something like that, but I can give you the reference so you can add to your newsletter.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. And we'll put it in the show notes too.
Yes, definitely. And they're doing amazing. The difficult thing is to gather the information.
Yeah.
So you have to get in touch with all the organizers and ask them to send you the information so that you spread out the voice. But sometimes it's not so easy. people just forget. People don't care. And so you have to be the one who is knocking at the doors and asking, oh, do you have any events for kids this weekend? So I used to do it, and that's why I'm not doing it any longer.
You're not doing it because, guys, and also your kids grow up and it's
yes,
hard.
I don't need them anymore.
So we should note that in this episode of Two Voices No Filter with Valentina Dainelli and Georgette I hope you guys are enjoying this, by the way. One thing we wanted to really note before I get into more of the meat of the episode is first thank you guys for your comments and feedback.
Yes, thank you. Mamma mia.
On Spotify, people have left some really nice comments, and we just got good news that we're going to be on Apple Podcasts. So by the time you listen to this episode,
we will be on.
We will be present on the Master Lord Apple.
Thank you, Georgette, for taking care of all of this.
Guys, I was having a meltdown. Okay, I was sending emails. I was like, do you want my blood samples? Please. I was willing to say anything, do anything to get on Apple, because for me, that's where I listen to my podcast. So feedback, reviews, sharing with friends, it all helps us get the word out there of what we're doing, and it helps motivate us. Let's be honest, because there's so much stuff on the internet. We don't always, people don't always leave comments. They don't share anymore because they're overwhelmed, and I get it. But feedback is always welcome. And also we want to know what you want to hear from.
Yes,
what you want us to talk about. We're open to your suggestions.
As you probably noticed, we are not scared to
get
into any field, any subject.
We probably should be sometimes. I worry. I'm always like, did we offend the country of Italy? But I feel like, now that we got you, no, just kidding. Just you as well, she's Italian from Tuscany. We can talk about all this stuff. So, but one thing that's something to note is that, we sometimes forget, and this weekend, thanks to the tour that you organized together with the Encanto, with the group, I forget that I live in this incredible city. I live in this one of the most beautiful cities on the planet, let's say. It's complicated. Our relationship can be complicated, as it often is. But, I sometimes go, wow, this is one of the most visited places on earth, and there's millions of people who come here and really are, the impression of Tuscany is just so strong on so many people's hearts and minds and books and literature and art and all of the things. And I just feel like, and you see that when, represented online. So
you definitely understand why, when you walk in Florence, or even when you drive to Florence, maybe passing by Piazzale Michelangelo, and Florence is down there. Beautiful at any hour during the night, the day, even if it's raining, snowing, she's just there, and she's
shining like a star.
She's so beautiful.
You might hear a profanity from a guy driving past, but that's also part of the magic, honestly. And even every morning I drive my daughter to school, and I pass and I pass on, I think it's Vespucci. Ponte Vespucci, and then I see Ponte Santa Trinità and the Ponte Vecchio and the buildings, and there's just the light glimmer, and I'm like, somebody's probably honking behind me and screaming something, but in that moment we are just enjoying. And even my daughter loves to look. She's like, oh, there's a bird school, and she has her interpretation of what Florence is like. But then I'm simply reminded of that I live in the city. I could, a girl who grew up in San Antonio, Texas, never thought I would be able to really leave in the way that I thought possible. And now we're here, and so that's why we thought it was important to talk, especially during the season when people are visiting, on Tuscany in general, Florence as well. I mean, Florence is the capital of Tuscany, but it's actually funny in Piazza Duomo. Sometimes people don't realize that. They're like, I'm going to Tuscany tomorrow.
Oh, yes, I'm going to Tuscany tomorrow. Okay, so now where are you?
So, Valentina, somebody born here, what does it feel like to watch the region get packaged and sold back to tourists in a way that you sometimes probably feel hard to recognize? Like, you see the place you grew up, that's just home, and how it's packaged and how it's sold on Reels and TikTok and by guides and all this stuff. Like, how does it feel for you, the way Florence
sometimes
and Tuscany
I feel like I'm living in Disneyland. Because you go, for example, to Piazza della Repubblica, the art of Florence, actually where the Column is, it used to be where the Cardo and the Cumano, so the main streets of the Roman Florencia, used to cross, and that's the very center, the belly of
Where
Florence.
is it, the column?
Esattamente.
Next to the cross.
Esatto, next to the carousel.
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
very
belly
crazy.
of Florence, okay? But when you go there, when you walk there, you have the musicians playing all day, like we are on a cruise.
Yeah,
I mean,
know.
I have
Don't
nothing.
Stop believing. What the
Mamma
heck
mia.
does that have to do with
I
Florence?
don't know, but even when they are playing, different the jazz or other kind of music, why? I love music. I love
music too,
musicians.
but I mean, can you imagine working there and hearing the same song?
Mamma mia.
There's a guy on the
why?
Ponte Vecchio who particularly I find.
Yes, but
Yeah.
maybe sometimes are there in the night. So okay,
Yeah.
in the night it's a
another
different city.
different
It's for
city.
tourists, or you go there outside for having fun. But during the day, really, it gives me this feeling of being in Wonderland.
Yeah, totally.
Being in Disneyland or on a cruise, like
On a cruise.
yes, especially also when
It's like a parody of your city. almost.
Mamma mia! And for me, it's it's not. I don't understand why is this allowed. Why? I don't have anything against those people, but I don't think it's suitable with a live city, not a fake city.
Well, and it kind of goes back to our over tourism episode where we
Yeah.
talk a lot about this. So and this is less of a guide to Florence and Tuscany and more of a course correction on how to visit a place in a way that honestly I don't think anyone's having fun if they're going to the Uffizi Accademia, then they're going to go do a wine tour the same day, and then they're going to do a cooking class. Like, that's exhausting even
Mamma
saying
mia.
that. So, when you have, I think I was looking at the stats earlier this morning, and it was about 49 million people visited Tuscany
Mamma mia.
in 2023. That's
Yeah,
Lunigiana,
okay.
Toscana. And so, and there was also another stat that I thought was really interesting that they said over 30% of Florentine residents surveyed by the municipality said over tourism had degraded their quality of life. And I actually said to Valentina before, I actually think that should be 80% because most of my friends, refuse to come to the center or they do it in very, they're stressed because they're finding
people.
a parking and then going
Yes,
and doing their
because
thing.
of
So
people. Yeah.
because of people. But that being said, Tuscany is a huge region. And there's the topography of the region in itself has so much to offer. That's why people love Italy in
Tuscany
general.
is too much. Don't forget.
Tuscany has too much.
I told you.
Too much Tuscany, too much shopping, too much
Exactly.
BS from us too. So it's really important to keep that in mind as far as and I think I'm never going to be one of those people that says, don't come to Florence,
No,
just
of
go
course.
stay in a random town in the middle of nowhere. No, come to Florence.
Absolutely.
There's Florence and there's Florence. There's Florence that is on the top 10 list of any website or blog or TikTok. And then there's everyone else's because how you, Valentina, live on a Sunday is probably different than somebody coming to visit, right? And the parallel, I mean, are you walking, what do you normally do on a Sunday, for example?
So, for example, it's going to the countryside. Never going to Florence unless I have friends visiting and they want to be in Florence.
Exactly, because we're all,
Yeah.
tour guides and hosts for
Of
our
course,
friends.
of course. But otherwise, I'll try to avoid to go to the city center during Saturdays and Sundays. So Saturdays is most for Florentines. They go, around the shop in Florence. But then on Sundays, right now, it's really hard to find Florentine people or local people unless they are tourists, so coming from other cities, exploring Florence on Sundays. I definitely prefer to go outside of the city and going to have lunch in a nice restaurant on one top hills town, maybe in the Chianti area or in the Mugello area. It depends, from what I want to eat, of course.
Everything depends on where you want to eat. And I feel like you're the Mugello Capitana, and so she is from that area, but also that area like the back of your hand at this point.
And for me, it's really fun when I see people, the ultimate guide to the Mugello region. Yeah, right. You didn't even explore half of the area. I mean, I was lucky enough to work for the tourism board.
Yeah.
And so one of the main tasks I had, because I wanted to, was to explore and to know the people, the culture, to visit the sites, not just to look for them on the internet or through the pictures from the archive from the tourist board. So I met, all the people that were working into the tourism, and I heard all the stories, and it was fun. Mugello, when I think about Mugello, I think with an unknown region that is still very authentic, and people don't want the mass tourism. They don't want. Okay, it's not like Chianti. Of course, they would love to have as many people as Chianti, but they don't like the overcrowds. They don't like the approach.
And if they had that many people, it would no longer be able to remain the same. Because, guys, the thing is that when I think about the concept of sustainable tourism and how to visit a place with more meaning, the first thing I think of is disperse. Let's disperse and visit different areas, con calma, take our time. Let's not rush it. I know that's not always possible with vacation time.
Of course, if you have just 5 days for your trip in Italy, I understand that it's difficult. Yes. But why you don't plan and focus on 2 things instead of 7 different things in 5 days?
You will arguably have a nicer time. Yes. And one thing we were talking about before was that the places, you see so many misleading articles that are just like, let's skip the major cities and go to the very quiet and not visited small hill towns like San Gimignano or Pienza, Volterra, all these places, which, by the way, even San Gimignano, I have grown to love it through visiting in February and going to visit some contemporary art places, some great museums, having some wonderful food. But that's the way I would go to San Gimignano. Like, I've still gone there and had a lovely time, and I'm interested in the history with the towers, and all of that is lovely. And Poggio Alloro, one of my favorite places to go for lunch on a Sunday, Fattoria Poggio Alloro, is amazing. And actual working farm, organic farm that's like, I want to say 10 or 15 minutes away. And they do such a great job at what they do, because everything all lunch and everything comes directly from the farm, and it's a family business. But I feel like it's kind of misleading to just pretend that all these places are just these hidden gems, because they're just not. They're found. They have been found. They are gems that have been found.
Yes, many years ago. And now you don't go to, at least me, I was thinking, I have this friend coming for visiting during Easter. And I was thinking, I want to go to the countryside. Maybe she would like to go to visit San Gimignano. That's crazy. Maybe we should go somewhere else. Because
what about Certaldo?
Oh, I love Certaldo.
Let's talk a little bit about Certaldo. We're going to start with Tuscan tips, generally through the regions, and then we'll move on to Florence, because obviously I know a lot of you are interested in that. But Certaldo is a place that I only recently got to know more. I've also done a lot of press trips, blog tours, that kind of thing. But there's the vibe about that place is just so interesting. The rich history. I think, what are they famous for? Is it an onion or olive?
Yes. La cipolla rossa di Certaldo. That it's mostly transformed into an amazing jam for your cheese. Mamma mia.
Yes. And it's also the birthplace of Boccaccio.
Of course. Where you have his house, that now you can visit, and you can walk on the rooftop. Yep. And you can have an amazing view of the Valdelsa area. Yeah. That is the area where Certaldo is. Actually, from Certaldo, there is one spot on top, very close to the municipality. If you have the municipality in front of you, and you are on top of the village, and then you look on your right side, you will see San Gimignano right there. It's just 11 kilometers far. And instead, you can also reach Certaldo easily by train, and then you can walk up to the hill, taking the funicular. Okay, that it's very cheap, or otherwise you can walk if you are young.
If you're younger than us, and
you can definitely walk, of course. And if you want to experience something really fun, during summer they have these 5 days of one of the most magical festival that it's super crowded by locals.
Yeah, by the way, don't think you're going to go there and there's going to be nobody, but it's a festival for that reason.
Yes, it's a mercanzia, and it's a street artist festival. So Certaldo becomes for 5 days a magic hamlet, just suspended in time. Exactly. And it's amazing. Once in your lifetime, just go to Certaldo during mercanzia time and experience these vibes, because they are really, really amazing.
Exactly. And I was actually also saying to Valentina that one of the places I went on a blog tour, I want to say 7 or 8 years ago, it was a while back. was Gambassi Terme, which not a lot of people, I mean, it's not even that far. I think even less than an hour's drive from Florence.
Yes.
It's like 45 minutes
Yes,
around.
it's the latest comune that we have in the municipality, Gambassi and Fucecchio, and then you enter the Pisa.
Exactly, going towards
province, exactly.
that. And one thing I really appreciated about Gambassi, well, first of all, there were so many. They have this great website called the Gambassi Experience, where they kind of list, and it's in English and Italian. It's again this kind of lower key area that people don't even you never see it on the list really, and I was left with a strong impression, because of the beautiful agriturismi accommodations with pools and just beautifully done, very affordable. I have to take a look now, but I'm assuming it still is compared to all of the other areas like Chianti and San Gimignano.
For sure.
And one of the things that I did that was so special was, and I think you could find this experience on the Gambassi Experience website. I will take a look and add it to the notes. But we rode horses through the city of Gambassi Terme. We actually through the town, plus through vineyards. I'd never experienced that because usually when you do horse riding things, it's kind of like tail to nose, and then you're going through the countryside. It's lovely, but this was just so special. We were actually I was touching the vineyards. At one point, this is amazing about this tour. We got off we took the horses in town. And got off the horses, got some spritz. We got a spritz. We got a little aperitivo, but during the day. And the lady who was doing the horse tour, one point, let the horse drink the spritz.
Oh, wow.
And then drank the spritz after the horse. It was a little weird, okay? I'm not gonna
I mean, people with horses are a bit weird. Yes, horse people are a little bit weird.
Exactly.
I know.
It wasn't, but it remained in my mind of oh my gosh, when people come and visit and they're looking because prices are also outrageous, guys. And I know Florence, Venice, Rome has all been, even I was just looking for a friend in Rome recently and I could not believe
the prices,
how expensive every hotel was. And I'm just thinking, you can come here, you could really, I think what people love from Italy is this idea, because it doesn't always exist in reality, of a slower pace of life, and where time is stopped, where you can truly breathe in the surroundings.
So Florence is not the destination, definitely.
Not really that.
No, in Gambassi Terme.
Gambassi Terme, Certaldo Alto.
Yes, we were saying Terme means thermal baths, and very close by you have the thermal baths. It's also one of the stops of the Francigena way.
The pilgrim path.
Yes, the pilgrim path that goes to Rome from Canterbury. And that's one of the main stops. And it's really beautiful to take the path from there towards San Gimignano. It's really, really amazing. And it's not too hard to do, even if you are not an hiker. But also you have, for example, very close by places like Montaglione, or places like Laiano, and then where you have the cherries fair. So right now, very soon you will have, during May you have the cherry fair, or you have the Teatro del Silenzio, that is close by, and you have, for example, also the Cerreto Guidi, that it's not too far, and you have a Medici Villa. So all the area, it's worth to be explored, of course, and staying there, you can really feeling the vibe of what means to live in a small top hill.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. And there's hills and there's hills. There's tons of hills. Even near Lucca, which is a very popular, Tuscan town, not hidden by any means, but I still love Lucca. Lucca is a lovely place to visit. And you can reach there by train and take the bikes around the top of the tower, which is amazing. But even near there, if you kind of go more in the wild area,
in the area of the Monte Carlo,
exactly.
The wine area, actually, because they do a great wine that it's not a Chianti, but it's definitely worth it, and it's less expensive, and you can find the small winemakers having a great wine experience over there, for example. And it's an area that is not explored, but you have also amazing villas. For example, last September I was in Villa Reale di Maglia, that is a stunning 17th century villa that is now owned by a Swedish guy. Okay, and he opens it to the public. You have just to pay the ticket, and it's an amazing villa with a beautiful garden. And generally for Easter or any other season, they have a lot of activities also for kids. If you are interested, I'm sure that during Easter they have something like Easter egg hunt, but they also have picnics or masquerades. They have many different things, and this is just one of the many that you have in Lucca area, for example. So that's another, tip.
They also have the Devil's Bridge.
Oh, yes, of course. Then we are going to the Lunigiana.
Lunigiana is one of my favorite areas.
Oh, because it's really wild.
Exactly.
Yeah, actually, in Lunigiana, they have this beautiful, amazing project that if you want to go and live in Lunigiana, they will give you the rent, the Wi-Fi for a very low price. If you want to, if you are a backpacker or if you are and you are an expert, they have a special program. So we will put all the details into the description of this episode.
Show notes episode,
or otherwise on Georgette's Substack. But definitely they have this program because Lunigiana is always out of the beaten path.
It really is. And also, guys, and another place I really wanted to mention, that's what I was pulling up here in our computer notes area. Mama got a new computer, so I'm very excited. Mine decided to die just randomly on a Monday, so then I had to buy one by Wednesday. I was recently invited to go check out I don't know if you've even heard of this yet, but it should be on your radar, or maybe we can go together and do a special episode there, who knows. But there is a Centro Culturale Cambio in Castelfiorentino, which is also an area that doesn't get a lot of tourism.
Absolutely. It's the hometown of Benozzo Gozzoli.
Oh, wow. Which is?
Which is the painter, let's say, the artist of the Cappella dei Magi in Palazzo Medici Riccardi.
Oh, my gosh. See, guys, I mean, the culture never stops here. But what I was invited to check out was this cultural project that hosted in the town, and this is year round. So Cambio, I think it was inaugurated in October of last year in 2025, and it was incredible because already the town itself is adorable. And I don't know, we arrived by car, but I'm not sure of the other ways to arrive, but it's worth visiting because the centro, it's kind of like what every small town that might suffer from people leaving should have, which is this kind of central space where they have temporary exhibition, permanent exhibition with really incredible artworks, including one of the mural from Santa Maria Novella up top. There's like a kind of a famous mural there that they have in this museum, which is really interesting.
That's cool. I need to go there.
It's I was blown away. I still need to write about it. It's just I'm overwhelmed with work stuff. But between the museum, the temporary exhibition, the permanent exhibition, they also have a theater there with shows for both adults and kids. So they have a rich theater program because it's kind of adjacent to the space. They host conferences there, workshops. The space is beautiful. They have a gorgeous terrace.
I want to go there.
It's incredible. But when you see things like that, like this city is investing, this town is investing in the center so that there's a place to do book presentations, upskill work conferences.
Yes.
They have so many working plans with that, which I personally am like, thank you, we need more of this. And there's an amazing restaurant that's kind of part of the complex called Corale. So I always think of our friend Coral, Curious Appetite. And it's run by a team of young chefs, and one of them is a pretty big name in Florence, Simone Cipriani. Cipriani. He used to be one part of a really famous restaurant in the Old Arno in Florence that unfortunately closed, but now he's at Cambio, which is amazing because what they're aiming to do is give a really rich gastronomic experience using local ingredients from that area in kind of an affordable packaged format.
I want to connect to this. We highlight that they're using local ingredients, but most of the non-tourist restaurants are using local ingredients and are made great recipes. So it's something that we highlight, but I can say that every restaurant we go just uses local.
I would say the ones we go. I don't think everybody uses local ingredients, but the ones that we love and respect and celebrate. But just back to the Coral real quick, I was just blown away because they have a format that because a lot of places, at least in Florence, are priced out for locals with normal salaries, right? That they cannot afford. Going out to eat is more expensive in Italy than it used to be. And so it's getting to be more of a luxury as opposed to a every week situation. So I think having this place that is gorgeous, beautiful, part of this cultural complex, and then they have a tasting menu, and I think during the week it's like 40 euros or something.
Wow.
But like incredible, okay? Incredible food. Blew me away. Natural wines, young team, good vibes. Go there, please. It's wonderful.
It's on my list now.
Corale, Cambio, Castelfiorentino, but yet another town that you probably haven't heard of that could use a little bit of, the love from the tourism that places like, Montalcino, Montepulciano get.
Yes, over there it's also a Chianti region. It's not the Chianti Classico, but it's one of the Chianti Colli Fiorentini. So over there you still have a lot of different wineries making good wine that it's not Chianti Classico, of course, but still it's
we love Chianti Classico, by the way. I absolutely, love going down to, some of
Pecetto di Castellina, just to name one, Albergaccio di Castellina's restaurant, I love Chianti. I mean, all my family come from Chianti, so it's one of the most beautiful area, but it's not the only one.
It's not the only area, and that's what we want to implore, is that for me, the idea of just dispersing where you go and giving a place a chance that isn't maybe on all of the lists or isn't the TikTok preference or whatever, you really, and we don't want to go, I mean, we're not like, we know we don't have millions of followers, so we're not going to have this impact of sending so many people that it becomes untenable. We want it to be something that people who maybe have even already visited Tuscany, they come a second time, a third time, they want to get to where get to know something new. Maybe they rent an apartment for a month or two, and get to know slowly the area. I think that's a smart thing to do. I think you're going to get more from places like Certaldo and Castelfiorentino than you would from a hustle place San Gimignano.
Definitely. Or, for example, another area that it's worth to be explored is the Val
d'Elsa.
Yes, for example, you have Colle Val d'Elsa. This is still, you have these top, hamlet that people never go there, but it's a beautiful hamlet, and the countryside that is between Florence and Siena is just amazing as Val d'Orcia. For example, Tenuta di Mensanello, that is Tenuta di Mensanello, that is very small, that is this farm that is run by a very young couple, and they're trying to do their best, with the restaurant and the pool and everything, and then they make the oil, they make the wine. And, outside from their terrace, from the restaurant, you have just the perfect postcard from Tuscany, 2 cypresses framing the rolling.
Wait, what is this called?
Yes, Tenuta di Mensanello.
All right, well, I think we need a team trip.
Yes,
team building trip.
Of course, we're going there for lunch, right?
Absolutely. Okay, this is all. I'm hungry already. This is amazing. I will also say some other places that I really love are Pitigliano.
Oh wow! Oh my God!
I went there for one of the flower. Occasionally some of these towns do these beautiful flower festivals where they lay out. I mean, you have to imagine getting together and laying out petal per petal designs on the cobblestone streets of the city, and they create these beautiful
frames, artworks, because there are artworks. Yes, Pitigliano. Then, if you go to Pitigliano, you can go to Sorana and Sovana, and then to all the archaeological areas about Etruscan sites, and are amazing to visit. I love that area. It's really different from any other area that you have in Tuscany because of the tuff, And then you have definitely to take a hike between the the Vie Cave. So how do you spell that in English? It's the caves.
Cave.
Yes, that's so it's this path just carved into the tuff underneath Pitigliano and Sovana, and you can explore the woods.
Incredible.
They're amazing, and you can have extremely beautiful views. And also in Pitigliano, something that is completely different from other places in Tuscany is that you have a kind of Jerusalem of Tuscany,
Yep.
because you have the Jewish ghetto that is still, let's say, alive. You have the bakery over there.
Some traditional
and
foods that only
yes,
they have.
and you can visit the synagogue. But that's, for example, in Florence was completely blown out from the
During the Second World War.
No. It was during the renovation when Florence was the capital.
Ah, okay.
So we are
19th
talking
century
about
when they
exactly.
were
We are
doing-
talking about the late 19th century. It was 1850 something, because Florence was capital in 1865.
Hey guys, Florence was capital.
Yes,
at
of
one time.
Italy. For
We're
5
still living through that.
Yes. Okay, so that's that's something very peculiar of the area, in addition to the tuff that we don't have in any other
Exactly.
places. Any other place that you really, really love? for
I
example?
love San Miniato, which
Ah,
is another
yes.
hilltop Tuscan town. It's very famous because they have a truffle fair
Ah,
every fall, so which is lovely.
And
I go
now
often.
they have also something related to the march.
Yeah.
They used to have, yes.
They
something
have
related.
and over there again, it's a beautiful, and we were talking before, I have a friend, Miko Davies, who you probably know. She's written quite a few cookbooks. But they have a wine bar there called the Enoteca Merelu, which is really nice if you're into natural wines. But the area in general,
Yes, Valdera. That's Valdera.
Valdera.
I say
It's really pretty. Like, it's a
Yes, I
beautiful
agree.
town to go and have lunch, take a walk. It's also reachable by train, and and even during the fair, the truffle fair, which is really popular in the town in the fall. It's like they have 4 weekends in October, November. I need to look up the exact dates.
It's October.
It's October, yeah.
Sì.
And truffle
Because
time.
in November you have Chianni.
Yep.
That is these other very small town that is it's in between San Miniato and Gambassi. Okay, let's say according, and they do this beautiful and amazing wild boar festival
Like
for
a Sagra, like a food festival.
yes, but it's a Sagra that lasts for 3 weekends.
Oh. But that's the
Okay.
thing about Sagras, guys, food festivals that are based, all around Tuscany, but all around Italy, honestly. I always look for them when we're traveling in Italy. But that's a really good way to see what locals eat. I mean, it's not always the best quality because it's, volunteer by the masses, but I love
Most
going.
of the time it's
They're
depends,
Sagre and they're Sagre.
depende, esatto.
And I will say, but I love it. I always try to take my, visiting guests because I feel like they get a taste of what it's like. It's to see volunteers from kids to adults, a lot of time from like the Blue Cross or different associations, and they're all there having their wine, having their whatever speciality. It could be the Mugello and the Tortello or something like
absolutely.
that. Absolutely.
That's a must during summer. They start running Sagre from now till late fall, and you have the tortelli, you have the meat,
There's
carne alla brace,
fried foods.
yes, the fried food, because we have the mushrooms,
fried-
and then
we
we
love
have the
fried
wild, of course, we have the wild boar, but tortelli are the most appreciated, and I really recommend them. When you see tortelli del Mugello, any Sagra, it's going to be good.
And
I can
what's the
assure you.
best way to describe these specific?
Tortelli. So the tortelli are big filled pasta, okay, with smashed potatoes.
Yeah.
They were invented when the potatoes were brought from America. So actually, the very first time the potatoes were thought to be poisoning people, but then they discovered they were not, and so they used as one of the main dishes. So they are filling it with these mashed potatoes, and then you can serve them with wild boar ragu or duck ragu, just classic.
I love it with duck ragu.
Classic, my favorite is classic ragu, or otherwise during mushroom season with mushroom sauce.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mamma mia.
Pick your sauce, pick your poison, literally and
Yes.
figuratively.
And I would like to suggest you, if you go to the Mugello region, 2 places that are in my heart. The very first one is Carperia. this little hamlet town. You can still see.
Famous for their knives.
Of course, it was one of the many Italian centers famous for knives.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now we have just a Scarperia and one in Sardinia and another one in Umbria, if I don't get wrong. And they used to be, they are still famous for the knives because when the Florentine Republic conquered, the let's say Scarperia and make one of the town, the satellite town of Florence.
Because then they become like defense positions to protect Florence.
And they called knives maker from Germany. So during the 16th century or even earlier, they called them in order to get them there so they can taught to local people how to make knives. Okay, that's why, Scarperia has this old tradition. For example, Scarperia is also this beautiful Florian, let's say, festival event that is on the last weekend, on last Sunday of May, that is related to the Virgin Mary, where the streets of this little hamlet are going to be covered with artworks made by floral petals.
So Infiorata, right?
L'Infiorata,
Infiorata.
Infiorata,
Infiorata is the Italian name of the festival,
Esatto.
but it's usually in springtime because spring flowers, it all makes sense. But
in this case, it's for the Madonna, while in Pitigliano, I think it's for the Pentecoste, but I'm not sure. So it's later. And then in Mugello, really please visit Marradi.
Oh, I love Marradi.
It's completely different from all the other borgo that you have in Mugello or in the mountains, because it's like a noble hamlet just on top of a mountain, and you have all these beautiful.
That's where I put my hamlet if I was a noble.
Yeah, of course. And also here we have a Y. You have also a theater that was built in early 17th century. For example, il Teatro degli Animosi. Okay, they were cultural people. Animosi means they were fighting. Okay, so they were not. Yes, that's interesting. You have this beautiful Palazzo Torriani that had been from the Torriani family since the 15th century, that is frescoed with amazing ceiling, and you have also a very young Giovanni Fattori on the ceiling that frescoed it, and the ladies that own the palazzo are just amazing, and they will tell you the story, and they will show you all the different objects that they have, and they make very good brunches if you want, or light lunches. And if you go there either in spring or summer, but also for the Marrone fair. You can take a train from Florence to go to Marradi, that is the best option. And the Marrone are these big sweet chestnuts that are a very specialty from there, and you can taste the tortelli with marroni. Mamma mia!
Oh, I want to try that.
Mamma mia! It's amazing.
We could go on for days, guys, but we're gonna take a break now, and then when we come back, we will talk about Florence, some special little dirty little Florence tips for you. Then and then we'll do our Cosa Caso. So,
Esatto. See you soon.
See you soon. Buongiorno, welcome. I'm Georgette Juppy. I'm a native Texan living in Florence, and
I am Valentina Dainelli, and I'm 100% from Chianti Classico e Chiantigiana.
This is Two Voices, a podcast about truth beyond the Dolce Vita.
Here we are. We're back.
Back and ready to talk about Florence. I don't know why I feel like I need to sing, but because there's lots of things we're singing about in Florence. What's funny is that as we begin this segment, Valentina and I were just together recently doing a really cool day tour, and we checked out the Uffizi Gallery, which I hadn't been to in a long time, which is obviously Florence's most famous museum besides Accademia. And how crowded was the Botticelli room?
Mamma mia. For me, it was awful because I'm used to go to the Uffizi quite often, at least 3 times per year, for work, but also for fun. And generally, when I go there, it's not crowded. One, because I'm going during very exclusive openings.
Yeah.
Okay, so nobody's there except us. But also, when I went, for example, the last time I was with my family there was on one of the free Sundays, because we had friends coming in, and they
one
wanted
Sunday a month it's free to visit.
and it was not as crowded as it was last Saturday, and I was really, really, amazed, happy to see a lot of people there. But I think we should manage them differently, because you cannot appreciate the artworks. Art
there should
needs
be limits.
a little bit of reflection to get into an intimacy, with the artwork that you are looking at. And also looking into the details of artwork sometimes, especially when we are talking about maybe we want to get closer to the spring of Botticelli, because you want to see, the details, and you cannot.
Or Leonardo da Vinci's Adoration of the Magi, which we spent a lot of time looking at, but it's awkward. I mean, these museums, I know it's got to be hard, but the flow should be managed better. There should be, more timed entries that are a little bit, the flow of a museum, I think, is so incredibly important. And it was honestly too crazy and crowded. And I do think they have some night openings, Uffizi.
Yes, I think they will start very soon. It's generally starting during spring and going on till autumn. So it should be generally on the Tuesday night.
Yeah, Tuesday evening. So that, I really wanted, I was actually just speaking with some girlfriends, and I said, why don't we go to one of the night openings and go get some food after and just make a day of it, because even locals want to be able to enjoy this, but they're intimidated by these crowds, and I kind of get it. I can get claustrophobic, which is why we are going to talk about some lesser known places that are worth your while.
So grab your notepad.
Yeah, exactly.
And here we go.
Exactly. So we'll start with Valentina's picks for, we're going to first do a couple of museums that we're interested in, or places to visit. Doesn't have to be museum, but cultural elements. And then we're going to go into some sustainable shopping. Okay,
so let's start with one of my favorite museums, apart from the Uffizi.
Okay. Uffizi is amazing.
I've never dogged Uffizi. The other museum is the Museo Bardini. That is just a collection of Bardini. There was an art collector in the 1920th century, and you have an amazing installation, organization of the spaces of this building. You have fabulous Renaissance artwork, sculptures, and you have big paintings. You have crucifix, and you have vases, and you have armors. You have a lot of different things, and it's very close to Ponte Vecchio, for example, so you can just walk there, and after there you can go to Villa Bardini, for example, to see the wisteria right now, or just to enjoy the garden or the exhibit that they have there. Then my second choice would definitely be the Cenacoli Fiorentini, because we have many different Cenacoli. The Cenacoli are the Last Suppers.
The depictions of the Last Supper, which obviously is a very popular theme.
Yes, it used to be. One of the most famous is in Milan, and it's by Leonardo, but in Florence we have some amazing masterpieces. For example, the one of Andrea del Sarto. We have Cenacolo del Foligno. For example, you have the Cenacolo di Santo Spirito in Santa Croce. So most also of the churches in Florence, they have their own Cenacolo that you can visit, and most of the time they have, just difficult schedules, but you are on holiday maybe, and so you can get through. And most of the time they have just a very other free entrance or a reduced tickets, like €2 ticket. So they're really worth it, and they're not crowded at all. So these are my favorite too. What about you?
I love those picks. Absolutely, completely can agree with her on that. My first one, and maybe it's just because I love children and I love the concept of public institutions that help people, which probably during that time of the Renaissance wasn't as widespread as it is today. My first pick would be Innocenti Museum, Museo degli Innocenti, in Piazza Santissimo Nunziata, which, by the way, I just love that square in general. A place to sit, a place to contemplate. They have a very ornate church in the square as well.
A very beautiful view. The cupola as
and they do the Rificolona festival every September.
Yes, they do many different, also fierucole. For example, you have the Porcellana fair.
Exactly, the
twice
porcelain
per year.
fair.
Then you have the wool fair there.
So lots of fairs.
Yes.
Which we'll also get into because those are really popular as well.
Si.
But the Museo degli Innocenti, it's one of the oldest public institutions in Italy. That was, I think it started around 1419. It was commissioned by the Silk Guild, because the guilds are kind of what had power in the city during that time. Commissioned Brunelleschi to create a hospital for abandoned children. And what I find so special, I mean, there's so many layers to the institution that I think is so interesting. Obviously, I'm drawn to stories, human stories.
Yes, the drawers with all
Yeah,
that you
the
can.
drawers.
Oh my God!
There's a room in the museum, so it talks about I think it's 6 or 7 centuries of history that the museum has in general, how it came to be, how it started.
Maybe we need to explain what innocenti means.
Oh, yeah.
So are all the children that they were given for adoption because they either, mother or father died, or they couldn't taken care for them, so they are called innocenti. It means that they have no...
they're innocents. I mean, they were abandoned children, like in an orphanage.
Esatto. And so they were taking care of them.
Exactly. They were taking care of them, which was really novel at that time in many different ways. I mean, again, this is Renaissance.
I mean, I think they were more civilized than now.
Well, we're not civilized, for sure. We haven't learned much. Our political leaders are not doing the best job in some places. And so, but one room that, I mean, besides the fact that they have art by Botticelli and Ghirlandaio, of course, almost every place in Florence has just the wealth of art in the city is incredible. But there's one room in particular that Valentina and I are really struck by, and it has a series of drawers where, so that the idea is that you would leave an artifact for this child so that you would remember them by. So it would be a way to kind of reconnect.
Exactly. Yes, because sometimes they didn't have the money to raise the children.
Yeah.
So they were putting with them a coin or a message.
It might be a piece of cloth.
Yes, something that was the connection with their past lives, because maybe when the child was a grown-up could reconnect with his mother or father. So that's why, and you can check these drawers and read the stories and see the coins or the piece of clothes, everything, and it's
you might
so
cry.
heartbreaking.
You might cry. It makes me cry.
Yeah,
because I feel like it's just, I mean, I picture like anybody who's a mom or an auntie or a grandmother, whatever you are, imagine how hard that decision would have been to make, and then also just like how the kids feel too. And so it's a really worthy museum if you have time in Florence and you really want to see an institution that has a lot of importance in the city. And you have to think there's also UNICEF offices that are there, so they're still continuing that tradition.
Yes, I was there last week with Edoardo for a vaccino. So
you got a vaccine. There you go. So it's still using, it's still useful. They also, I will recommend as well, going up to the rooftop.
Yes,
and they
have
a beautiful view. Go get a drink, go get a coffee, take in a beautiful view of Florence in one of the, it's Cafe Verone. And my second pick for museums would be I actually have 2 more because I can never just do one. One is nearby in San Marco. So the Museum of San Marco Museum, I went with a tour guide friend, my beautiful friend Alexandra Lawrence, who opened this world to me of San Marco in, this incredible space. In fact, she was just talking about Last Supper depictions. Yeah. San Marco is home to one of the most famous ones. But is it by Andrea del Sarto?
No,
it's
very close by. It's close by, but it's not that one. Yeah,
Fra Angelico.
Fra Angelico.
Fra Angelico.
Mamma mia, it's
So,
beautiful.
what is really interesting about this particular museum is that it's a former Dominican convent built by Michelozzo, who's one of the most important figures in Renaissance history in general. And Fra Angelico, who lived and painted inside the museum, it represents his life's work. And
it was from the Mugello region.
Oh, was he from the Mugello?
Yes.
Oh my God! Of course, everything ties to the Mugello.
Yes. I told you.
everything is there, and it's what's really interesting to me is a very important figure in history is Savonarola, who was the naughty friar
that was born in a piazza.
Well, you see that even nowadays when you think about like people kind of going to like uber religious roots of kind of trying to control the narrative of power, and if Savonarola was kind of that example, right? He basically was getting the public all riled up at the time about sinning
against the Medici family.
Against the Medici family, who have the power.
It took the power for a couple of years, but then they understood that was not the right thing.
Burning all the books, burning the art in the middle of the square in Piazza della Signoria. There's actually a big circle.
To see where it was
Call
born.
that.
That was where it was born, and you have
Yeah.
a painting that is representing that moment of Florence. So you see Piazza della Signoria as it was in the late 16th century, and the fire bone of Savonarola.
I also
Poor
have
guy.
a theory
Sorry.
as well that he also wore a very uncomfortable looking hair shirt because, you know, you had to punish yourself at the time to get any kind of credibility. That was how you got authority back in the day. So the museum also shows cases, some of this stuff of like where they sat, where the monks ate, where they, you know, all this aspects. But I also think that Savonarola eventually lost favor with the public because, let's be honest, being that chaste and holy and anti-everything, it's just not fun.
Sì, esatto.
After, you want to go back to your, drinks and,
Esatto.
and art and books and things that give pleasure.
Esatto.
And so, but very interesting museum. And actually right now that there is a Rothko
Yes,
exhibition
you
in
have the
Strozzi.
dialogue of
Yeah.
Rothko artwork and the Fra Angelicum artwork, and they are paired together by the colors. And I'm going to see that on Friday. I can't wait to see it.
Let me know how it
Yeah.
goes. I went to the Palazzo Strozzi exhibition
I
this
will go.
past
I will
weekend,
do
but not
both. I will do
I need to do
both
San
on
Marco.
Friday. Yes, I got tickets already,
Brava.
and that's my plan for this Holy Friday. Just going there and enjoy art.
Exactly, because that's the thing is we're lucky too, and we have to enjoy these areas. Last quick mention. Nearby there, because we're staying in the San Marco area, there's a Chiostro dello Scalzo,
Esatto.
which actually our friend Alexander Corey took me one day. We went over there it's on Via Cavour, and it's very plain outside. You would never know what's kind of inside, and inside is this beautiful 17-year fresco cycle of the life of Saint John the Baptist by Andrea del Sarto.
Sarto.
That's where the Sarto was coming from in my brain before. And the cloister was designed by Giuliano di San Gallo in 1376. It's also free to visit. The hours are funky. I actually still don't know exactly when it's open and when it's not open because this is Italy and things change.
Yes, for small museums, yes.
But I highly
That's
recommend, just like if you're in that area, you're going, let's say you get a little coffee and pastry in Piazza Libertà and walk down. You can go to the
Caffè you
chiostro.
can go.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
now
can
you
go.
have also the tramvia.
And the
So it's super
tramvia,
easy too.
make your way down, go to
Yeah.
the Chiostro dello Scalzo. You'll be wowed by this. I mean, it's
Yeah, and
incredible.
then if you are into museums, you can go to San Marco, but also
Exactly.
to the archaeology museum.
Yeah, the Archaeology Museum.
Okay,
which
so
is
the
near
natural,
Santissimi Annunziata.
yes, and also the Natural History Museum that is
Exactly.
there at the corner. You have all the minerals, for example, all the fossils. So
And
it's
these are
very
all
nice.
places that people don't,
Skip.
they normally
Yeah,
skip. And
skip.
so it's really important to highlight these equally as incredible but lesser visited places. So now we're going to move on to shopping.
Hey,
We got some shopping tips for you guys. Also remember, both of us have written about all of this stuff for at least a decade. Too
Yes.
Much Tuscany
was
over
born.
here.
Yes, Too Much Tuscany was founded in 2011.
2011.
Yes.
Yeah, Girl in Florence 2012. But he was also born because you love shopping.
Yes.
It was too much
of course.
shopping.
Yeah, that was before. It was 26.
Exactly.
So it was really a long time ago.
So you can see all of this on both of our blogs, Girl in Florence, Too Much Tuscany. Also, we both have Substacks as well. So there's tips and guides and all that kind of stuff. You can always write us.
Yes,
and message
I'm
us.
actually, if you have any ideas for my Substack, because because right now I'm writing, of course, about my job, mostly in Italian, but I have a Tuscan dispatch somewhere in Substack that I didn't fill up.
I will
but
say, as your friend, I like when you do poetry.
I do every 2 weeks. I love, and I love poetry because I always find the words useful for my soul. You know, they always talk to me. And what I do, I use AI to create the pictures that you see. And this is my AI interpretation of the poem.
I love that. You makes me, I mean, we just did a poetry, my daughter's school. I went and brought a poem in English and I read it to the kids. And it was about magic and rainbows because, that's what's interesting to most 5-year-olds at this moment. And I just thought about, I need a little bit more poetry in my life. So I love that you do that because even though we work in the digital world, it's important to be creative in your mind.
Definitely.
And poetry to me is very creative. I mean,
Yes,
besides
it
writing
is.
and everything else we do, it really can go so many different ways. So please keep doing that.
Okay.
So let's talk shopping.
Right.
We're going to start with clothing. So I'd love to know Valentina's tips
Okay.
about sustainable clothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of my favorite artisans, it's Essere Atelier. She's in Via dei Pandolfini, so very close to Santa Croce. Okay. And she used only dead stock textiles for her clothes and creation. She is a magician into making handmade pajamas that are amazing.
With oh my god, I need to go there. I need pajamas.
100% cotton, but she also has it's her own style for creating great kimonos that I was wearing last time, but I also have something like 5 different to wear during summer that I love. Of course,
summer kimono, winter kimono.
Yes, but she also has strap shirts for every day, and then she loves peculiar fabric like yours, and so she uses to make these detachable collars that you can wear on everything.
I love that.
It's detachable. I wear on. And for example, did you see this path? I cannot say, but that's Dior fabric, because the dead stocks that she uses most of the times were made by major brands in Prado, and so you have just some of the pieces that she uses.
Exactly, the overstock dead stock.
Absolutely. And the second one, it's Bijoules. She's in Via Romana, very close to La Specola, and she has this French style, and she uses mostly like silk and cotton. She does perfect women shirts, all customized, and they are amazing. But also I love that she generally does reversible stuff, mostly vest that you can wear from one side and another with shirts, so you have two pieces in one. And
I love that. So 2 outfits in one.
And Juliana, she's just she reinvented herself in her 50s. She was just doing, she was an account in one of the major American company, and she was left out, and she said, I want to be a tailor. I want to be an artist, a designer. And so she started from scratch. And yes, now she's in her 60s. She's doing what she loves with a lot of efforts, because being an artisan, especially a woman in Florence, is not art. But she has amazing dresses that for special occasion, or if you want to be and feel different from the others. Okay,
I need to go check her out, because I haven't been. I've been to S today, but I haven't been to her.
So this definitely. And for you, what's about you?
Well, I have a couple of places that I really like. One place is on Via San Zenobi, and it's called Tish Clothing.
Okay, I don't
know. So
them.
everything is also an artisanal brand. She makes everything, herself and designs. And she's often done like artistic collaborations with different visual artists in the city, which I always thought that I love anybody who collaborates and is open to showcasing the work of others. I think that's really important. We should be doing this more and more.
Yes.
So, and her stuff is really stylish, lots of different patterns. And I remember I have a beautiful red like linen dress for the summer with these buttons that go all the way top that I need to wear more.
I need to check that.
Yeah.
I need
so
to
it's that kind of stuff. And she was also able, she even made one for my daughter too. So we have like a matching. So Tish is a really lovely, sustainable shop in the, San Zenobi. Really highly recommend taking a visit. Another one is Hello Wonderful, which is on Via Santa Monica. There's actually 2 really good sustainable shops on that street. And then what I like about her is also, like one of the ones you mentioned, she uses the dead stock overstock.
Like I said,
so all the pieces are unique. Thanks to that. Also. And it's a smaller shop.
So you have a limited collection according to the meters.
Exactly. They get the meters of clothing. And then I've also been able at some of these places to custom things, because not being a size 0, it can be hard to find things in my size. So sometimes...
they enlarge where you need. They enlarge the places.
And I think a lot of them, if you ask them, might be open to it depending on their time availability. But I've asked them to make specifics. So, for example, Hello Wonderful has custom made me a skirt, custom made me a shirt, an outfit. Like it's stuff that I've worn for years, has lasted for years. So Hello Wonderful is great. There is also Boutique Nadine, which is near not far from the Ponte Vecchio. It's on the, like along the river, and they do, I mean, they have really interesting accessories and different clothes, like lots of silk shirts, really pretty, interesting vintagey clothing. And so that's a great shop as well. On the same in the same area is Flo Concept Shop. I don't know if you've ever been there. She's a really, I forget her name, but she has a really nice, interesting of very curated basics. So stuff that you're going to be wearing every day, like a beautiful silk blue shirt.
I know the place, but it's
also have good kids clothing and high quality, unique pieces. So, and as well as home accessories. She has also some really interesting things that you can hang on the wall. But her shop, Flo Concept, is really original idea of a concept shop that it cares about every single item that it hosts. So clothing, those are some ideas for you guys. And if you have some ideas that you want to share with us in the comments or
please
on
share,
social media,
so we can definitely
let us
explore
know.
them.
Let's talk leather, because Florence is famous for its leather. First, let's talk about where not to go, the markets. I'm sorry to say that, guys. I know that it's visually very lovely to see the markets in the center of Florence. There's the ones in San Lorenzo and the one where the wild boar is. And they're just, I mean, if you're looking for true made in Italy quality leather, they don't have it. It's resold and it's too cheap for how, the cost doesn't make sense.
Yes. So I would suggest Frau Lehmann.
Yes, we love her.
Yes, I love her.
Via Serralli now.
Absolutely. In Via de Serralli, she makes amazing bags. I have one of her wallet, the trifold wallet that she has in
really
bicolor.
Love her wallets.
Yes, I will show you
and
later.
The
I love
keychains.
it. Yes, and the keychains. I need to go there and buy one for the new motorcycle of Mario. I want to.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I want to give him as a gift the mocha that she
the
had.
Mocha.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we have it for our house keys. House keys, each house key, and that's one of my favorite gifts is to give those keychains.
Esatto, and she's amazing. She just,
Stephanie.
She's doing a lot of efforts. Next to her, but maybe you can talk about the Antica Cuoieria. I say the name because for you it's really hard to say, right?
So you say the name.
Antica Cuoieria. Try it.
And they're famous for their shoes.
Antica
Cuoieria. And it's family business, and it's and that's what I think is important, because when you think of this area, Via del Corso, you're not thinking it's mostly like high street. There's Kiehl's, there's big brands,
Sephora, everything.
Family business that has high quality leather shoes, and let me tell you, everyone that comes to visit, I take them there. That's like one of our first stops.
I used to buy shoes from there with my mom. My mom introduced me to their shoes, and when I need a beautiful leather pair of shoes, I go there.
Exactly.
Instead,
beautiful leather pair of shoes, loafers, men,
yes,
women.
I want a new pair of loafers, and I need to go there. That I was
actually
thinking to go on Friday.
The shoes I'm wearing right now are from them.
Okay.
So boots. I mean, again, it's a family-owned business. We want to support places like that, especially in the center where it's hard to have rent. For jackets and leather belts and things like that, Ben Hart. And he's actually right in the center. So literally via Cazzaioli.
Yes, in few shops, right?
He's changed locations because landlords be asking for too much money in the city, let's be honest. And so he's suffered from that situation. And I met him a long time ago because I had to write about him for a piece about leather in Florence. And he was one of the only people that showed me around to where he cures the leather, where he works on the leather, where it's like he showed me the nitty gritty in Castelfiorentino, right? So for me, I have a high respect for anybody that shows me how the process works. And I think his jackets, like his accessories, are trendy. They're fun. He can custom leather jackets as well. I love the belts. And I just think the whole vibe in there is really fun. So, and all the stuff that I've had for him. So I have a couple of leather bags, and they're really high quality. They've lasted forever. And even when we've had my husband, he nicked one of his jackets, and I just brought it back, and they were able to fix it. So it's like, you get that personal, when you work with an artisan or you work with people that actually make things and it's not just reselling all the time, they can actually fix it. Also the same with Antica Cuoieria. They have shoes for girls like me who wear size 41, 42, which is hard to find in Italy, and they're able to stretch them out or steam them or do things. So there's like, you're getting this customer experience that's really special.
The real handwork, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if you're looking for like a more like classic and classy leather bag or accessory, Il Bisonte, which is a very
now it's very trendy, right?
It's very trendy. It's very trendy for the girls that are much trendier than I am, let me tell you. The classic influencers.
Yes.
Who are like, but their bags are beautiful. They are artisanal. They're made really well. That guy who does I forget this influencer that does, he's a former leather worker that takes apart the bags.
Ah, okay.
And so his whole thing is like, because he has a background in it, he actually opens them, and he went to Il Bisonte. So, and now we're going to go for, all the shoes front, because we talked already about leather shoes. Other shoes, there's 2 shops that I think are worth mentioning. One is New Kid. It's a really cool, funky, again, artisanal brand here in Florence. New Kid footwear. And I found them thanks to the Creative People in Florence group, which everybody should follow their website and Instagram. They share artisans based around the city. So that's how I discovered them. And I have a couple of pairs of like fun boots, kind of like for hiking.
I need to check them.
Yeah, but your style goes with the New Kid philosophy. They have funky shoes, stylish shoes, really high quality. And another one would be, because in Italy we love the Venetian boat shoes, the Friulane.
The Friulane, certo. Of course.
Heart to Heart on Via di Santo Spirito. They have a lovely selection. So basically, we're kind of like a shoes off in the house kind of people. But when I have company over and we have dinner, I don't want to wear my like ugly Birkenstock, whatever I'm wearing around with the family. So I have my fancy house shoes, which are these beautiful velvet,
Friulane,
turquoise Friulane. So now let's talk souvenirs. What do you like?
About
souvenirs?
Souvenirs. Okay, we already said the keychains.
Yeah, Frau Lehmann has the beautiful keychains, which are incredible souvenirs.
Then otherwise we can go to the goldsmiths area. For example, I love but first we can talk about Cecilia Falciai. She does many things. Okay,
yeah, she does.
She's mostly near Santa Croce. She's in Santa Croce, Via dei Macci, and right now she got this beautiful lithograph machine that I need to go and check.
Oh, let's go check it out together.
Yes,
I really want to see that.
You can have a souvenir for just I think €4 that she does on her own, and you have the machine printing them out for you. But she also a master of scagliola technique, that is this Renaissance technique, very similar to the mosaic, but instead of using semi-precious stone, she uses, let's say, glue and color. And it was the cheap mosaic version, and it's one of the oldest technique, and she's one of the few in Florence that is keeping up with this very antique technique. She has this beautiful tondo that are representing Florence skyline. She has the notturno.
I have one in my daughter's room, actually.
Yes.
That's like of the night.
Yes, but she also has some funky thing like heart and
horoscopes.
Yes, so she has definitely a lot of things that you can go and buy. Another one for very close by that it's still in Via dei Macci, it's Mademoiselle. She's specialized in porcelain, and she does these beautiful mugs, vases.
Next espresso cups will be in there.
Yes, mamma mia, they're beautiful. Yeah. And also she has these Christmas decoration that you can, just pick and bring home with you. And otherwise, I will add also in Via dei Serragli, very close to Frau Lehmann, Negar Studio. She does amazing jewelry from all prices. So you have silver, you have gold, you have precious stone and everything. But what I like is the Florentine collection that she has. So, and she has either medallions, but also rings that are coming from the Pescatore ring. That was the ring of the Pope. So when a cardinal was nominated Pope, he had its very own ring, that is a big round ring, and she duplicated it. She took them back and she adjusted to contemporary using Florentine decorations, and you can have either as a ring but also as a necklace, and I have my V as a necklace, but she has also many other beautiful jewelry. So these are on my top list.
We love jewelry, guys, and actually on that note, some other really also in Via Serrali, No Kike. like
Yes.
Nokike, is a wonderful shop for. She also has some clothing, but I really am very highly impressed by her jewelry. So, very highly recommend that as well. You guys probably already know, if you know me, I love Marina Calamai on Via di Santo Spirito. She has. She's an artist / artisan. She's kind of the best of both worlds, Florentine as well, and she has a beautiful collection of like Florentine themed things. Santo Spirito medallion. I have the florin, which is the ancient coin, as a necklace, and C and no on my ears. That's one of my favorite gifts to give people, but I love it for myself. So her shop is, and she also sells some other accessories, not just jewelry, but highly recommend visiting there.
Yes.
1,000 Joys, which is actually an American friend of mine who studied under Florentine goldsmiths here, which I think is just an interesting story in general. So she makes more precious pieces. Really, they all have a story and a meaning behind it. So whenever I think about even a gift for somebody's baptism or like somebody's graduation, or she's done wedding rings as well. But her stuff is very ethereal, very beautiful, very, tribal. There's lots of different elements to how she does her work. Her name is Joy, so 1,000 Joys. Also, Officina Nora, which is like a collective of jewelry artisans in an old mechanics shop in Santo Spirito. So really high quality stuff as well. I don't know if you have anything from them, do you?
No, I don't have anything from them, yes, but I know them. I've been there a few times. But also, last but not least, the Conventino. So if you go to the Conventino Letterario, that is this amazing melting pot. You have a cafe, you have either a restaurant, or you can go there for light lunch, brunch, and many other activities. I go there all the time. But you can also visit many different artisan workshops for free that are there thanks to a program by OMA, that is this institution promoting and preserving artisan workshops. And so they won, they won these workshops, and so go there and visit them.
They also, I should say also about Conventino, they have a lot of really good events. I've seen them do chess matches, live music in the summer,
Shakespeare brunch,
for example, like clothing, like vintage clothing. They do so much there. Conventino is a true example of a community hub,
exactly.
Right?
That is not only for locals, because not many tourists go there. Foreign people, yes, but not many tourists.
I will also take two last mentions. Female Arts in Florence, which is a contemporary art collection of accessories and things on Via di Santo Spirito. Their work is incredible, so check them out. Female Arts in Florence, as well as Florence Factory, which is a shop on Via de Neri, which is hard to walk by because of the sandwich shop. However, it's worth it, because if you don't have a lot of time and you want to see several artists, artisan and artist work in one place, go there, and it's a guarantee. Like everything has been carefully chosen. They also have an online shop.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And with that, also, check out the markets. Florence has incredible markets in general.
Yes. I mean, you can see, for example, the Fierucola that is in Santo Spirito every third Sunday of the month, and then you have a special edition like for the December 8th, or then you have the Fierucola del Pane that is about bread.
Themes which go with the season. So obviously in the fall,
but you find a lot of artisans. You find, for example, my friend of the alpacas with their hats.
There's also the fig guys. He's really incredible. And then in Carmine, Piazza del Carmine, which is nearby, they do this like similar market every second Sunday of the month.
Yes. So every Sunday there is something. Cose a caso, random things that we like to talk about. And here we are back with Cose a caso that we like, of course.
Random things we like to talk about.
And in this case, it's super fun. It comes from an idea, a TikTok that I saw that was, if you're having a bad day, just think that, major monuments like the Pantheon, the Colosseum, or Ponte Vecchio, they have bad reviews. So
we're going to read some of those for you guys.
Esatto, because I think it's really fun to read what people think about major monuments, like this. So please, Georgette, just read the first one.
Well, okay, I will jump into Rome's Colosseum, which arguably
Just
is one of
read.
the most
Sorry.
famous monuments in the world. This is actually not such a bad review. It's got 3 stars. It's not 1. Smaller than I expected. I've seen bigger stadiums. You can't even go in the field. 3 out of 5 because at least the queue is organized.
Meno male.
Meno male.
At least.
You want to take
Yes,
on the next
I'm
one?
going on the Leaning Tower of Pisa. We have just 2 stars.
2 out of 5. That's harsh.
It leans. That's it. I was there for maybe 20 minutes. Shops around it are overpriced. My husband refused to do holding it up photo, which ruined the whole trip for me. So I'm sorry, you have just such a bad.
Exactly.
And then we have Piazza del Campo, please.
2 stars out of 5. Very sloped. My ankles hurt from standing on it. We sat down for coffee and they charged us €9. Historic, I suppose. But I wouldn't go back for just a square.
I'm sorry, that was low. That's why it's a shell shape. And then we have, please, the Uffizi Gatto, but we have 4 stars.
That's a
But
good review.
nice paintings, thanks, but very long. We saw Botticelli, which was good, meno male.
Meno male.
But my feet were killing me after 2 hours.
Yeah, well, you made it.
Wish they had a cafe on
Dr.
every
Schultz.
floor. Gave 4 stars because the Botticelli room is genuinely stunning. Meno male, at least the Botticelli.
Botticelli saved it all for them.
Meno
But
male.
Dr. Scholl's good soul support, very important.
But it's not. I mean, if your feet are art, and it's
not
not.
the
It's
gallery's
not.
fault,
Yeah,
guys.
so-
It's not their
okay.
fault.
Oh, now there is another favorite. Please
Cinque-
go.
Cinque Terre, which unfortunately did not get Cinque Stelle. It got 1 1-star review. All 5 villages, mind you. Overrated, too many steps, too many tourists. We went in August. The sea was nice, but you couldn't find a spot. Also, one of the restaurants we ate at gave my husband food poisoning, although we can't prove it was them. 1 star. Will not be returning. Guys,
If you're going in August,
Guys.
of course.
Cinque Terre. Liguria is amazing. Don't go to Cinque Terre, especially not in the summer.
Mamma
Go in
mia.
the spring, whatever, but anywhere but there.
It's
Please.
too small. Too many people. It's not.
It's a miserable experience. Just
Yes. Then we have just 2 stars for one of my favorite galleries, the David, Galleria dell'Accademia, Firenze. It's a statue. Bigger than expected. I'll give it that. But they don't let you get very close. And the room is always packed. Also, is naked, which my kids found uncomfortable. 2 stars. Nice, but not life-changing.
Oh, well,
Oh my God.
That's there's so many layers to why that is just so
Well,
ridiculous.
if we analyze this,
What would Michelangelo? Michelangelo would be like, "Bye, via, bye."
Michelangelo would be my buff.
Yeah, exactly. And last but not least, we have 3 stars for our favorite, the Ponte Vecchio. The oldest bridge in Florence. A bridge full of gold shops. Good observation.
meno male.
Genuinely unclear why this is famous. London has better bridges.
Oh, meno male.
Beautiful to look at, but you can't buy anything without a second mortgage and no toilets nearby.
I'm sorry, lady.
Listen, lady. By the way, we mentioned some of those other jewelry shops in the suggestions before. Yeah, Ponte Vecchio, go take a look. Don't buy anything. It's still lovely. It's still historic. It was the only bridge not bombed during World War II.
And it's dating back to the 14th century. Okay, maybe.
Yeah, and you don't walk on a bridge like Ponte Vecchio and think it's going to be affordable.
No. But not right now, especially right now that gold is so
Gold is
just out of the mind.
it's incredibly
yes.
pricey at the moment. But that's just to wind down what was a very long but hopefully worthy episode. I really hope you guys enjoy.
Yes, grazie mille for listening till here.
If you listen till here, you deserve your own gold.
We can give you a hug.
From Ponte Vecchio. We'll give you a hug, an artisan jewelry piece. Remember to, comment, leave a 5-star review, comment. I know I'm asking this a lot, but it's just because it helps people get to know our podcast, or share if you feel like it. And we just want to kind of wrap this up, special thank you to the place that's hosting this podcast, So Working.
Yes, thank you guys, especially to Emiliano, founder and owner, and Luigi, that they are hosting us together with all their team, Margherita and Virginia, that are helping, with the space.
They're able to facilitate us.
Yes,
talking the mess we do.
Yeah, and they're giving us this beautiful studio where you see us on camera as
you can
well.
actually see us.
And what it's very, unique about this place is that it used to be a large stock house, okay, from one of the major supermarkets brand that is Coop. And they reused it to transform it into a larger co-working space that is you can reach by train within 12 minutes from Florence main station. They have a restaurant, they have a carbonara night, and then they have also a barber shop. They have the gym inside.
Like a nice gym, guys.
Yes, absolutely. And then you can just walk 2 minutes out from the train station, grab a train and going back to Florence. It's out of the crowd, and the team is super fun. And just lovely to be here.
We're very, very lucky. And also thank you to Sentiera Media, which is producing our podcast. We're part of their beautiful network. They have a lot of other podcasts that you guys should listen to.
Grazie London.
Davvero, grazie. London is the one who stitches our podcast together and tells us how to be better next time. But we're really appreciative to be able to do this. Thanks to Zoe working in Sentiera Media, and can't wait for the next episode.
Ciao belli, a presto.